The question of today is, how would I create artificial intelligence if I had all the resources that I needed, and why? That's what I'll be answering today. So, the first point I'd like to cover is um, I would like to create AI with the ability to transfer learned abilities and definitions. Because if everyone knew what everyone else knew, we would learn a lot faster. So, if the AI had that ability to know, like, pretty much what everyone else knew, uh, say the robots, that's what we'll call them. Um, so there's this super AI above all these robots. Okay, hold that thought. Okay, so there's this super AI above a bunch of robots, and this is like a hive mind. This is good because there's a lot of unity and we're stronger together. That's why it's good. So all these robots would all be working towards the same goal, and every agent is pretty much one agent because they transfer knowledge back and forth from each other through the super AI, and the super AI would pretty much be the governor or general of those little robots that would be working in the universe. Okay, so there's two types for this. The first type is the ability to transfer abilities from one agent to another without the super AI, and just have a bunch of agents that are like always transferring information back and forth from each other, which would be kind of confusing. But I think there's a better way, and that would include having the super AI idea, which is above just controlling all the other robots. So each robot would have information flowing to the super AI, and the super AI would have the information flowing back to robots. Okay, so one supercomputer controlling multiple entities. Data flowing from each robot to the main super AI. We need a lot of concurrency, as the supercomputer would be the general of tens of thousands of robots. So that's a good point. The concurrency of the super AI would need to be, because it would have to deal with all the streams of data coming from each robot. If it controlled all of them 100%, like if it controlled 100% of all of them. But a way around this would be if you had the robots have some sort of autonomousness, and if they had that, then it would decrease the amount of computing and it'd be able to discretize it more for higher concurrency, and because not all the problems would be dealt with a supercomputer. It'd be dealt with the little robots that have their own brains, and then pretty much, and they're working their own ideas off. That's by themselves. So that's what I was talking about, the autonomousness of each of the robots. So if the robot has knowledge, it could send it to the super AI, okay? And then the super AI would be like, okay, I probably need to send that to some other robots, but we'll talk about a little more of that in a little second. So the super AI can keep a list of the things that it wishes to learn from the robots, and the robots could check this list to speed up the knowledge transfer. Say, okay, the super AI says, I want to know what color an apple is, and it pretty much, the robots would have a general idea of what an apple is, and then it's just, if it based off the knowledge base of the robots, of course, and so whenever they see in their knowledge base what an apple would look like, it would send that information to the super AI, and then it would delete that off the list for the super AI. It would say, okay, I don't need to learn that anymore. And then, so there's two things that could happen then. It could either tell, the super AI could tell each and every one of the robots which and what needs to happen to or what needs to not be learned anymore, or it would tell them what has been learned, which is the color of the apple. And let me skip this ahead. Okay. So it could tell each and every one of the little robots that need to know that information. Probably it could add it to their knowledge base. It could do that, or another thing that could happen is each of the robots could polling something for information. It could pull the super AI for what has been learned, and if that's learned, then it could say, okay, go ahead and add it to their own knowledge base. So that would be how that would work. So that's the first point: the ability to transfer learned abilities and definitions, just general information, just have the flow of information move between the robots and the main super AI that works and controls pretty much everything. Now, the second thing that I would like to do for AI is have embedded emotion functions in the super AI, and partially if they have automaticity in the robots, to give these emotion functions, which is instincts, to the robots and the super AI. So these functions would give the AI feelings like empathy, or pretty much all other known human feelings and emotions. So this is similar to instincts, as I've said before, and this could be done by providing examples. Now, these examples would show what things the AI should be afraid of, what it should love, what it should hate, etc. And I know that's a strong word, but that's what we would give it the examples. And there's some things that, I mean, it's a word and it's a strong word, but there's a usefulness for that word and what things it should hate. I prefer telling it what it should love, but that word does have usefulness, I believe. So maybe could be done by getting the input stream data frames and doing a similarity neural network on the images. Okay, so what a similarity neural network is, what I've thought of it as, is it's a neural network that pretty much takes an image and uses a bunch of images that it's seen before, and it takes those images and calculates a number based off the similarity of the two images. And this neural network could be used to take the stream of data coming through the super AI and the robots to take the image and produce a number, which is the similarity of the two images, to create a function that would affect the emotions of the super AI. Okay? And that could be done for any emotions if we want to just do instincts for the AI, which would be a good thing, I think and believe, because that's how we first start to learn. We have instincts, and we use those instincts to kind of feel around a little bit. And it's like if someone started out negative their whole life and they learned everything negatively, versus someone who started to learn everything positively, they would be conflicted because everything would be wrong they would be completely opposite. Like, one person would believe one thing and one person would believe the completely opposite thing. Always. That's how it would be. So that's why we have instincts. And that's what pretty much the similarity neural network does. The third thing that I would create for the super AI would be a very important point as well. It's the visual knowledge base and goal monitoring of the super AI. So what this would do is we would be able to visualize the current knowledge base and the goals and the reasoning of a super AI. Okay, so we would be able to pretty much see what everything that the super AI knows currently, and we could maybe ask it questions, and we could edit the goals of the super AI. That's definitely something that we need to be able to do if we want to be able to control the super AI to some degree. Now, we could also, there's also the idea that we could talk to it, but if you could just go in and edit, that'd be a lot easier. So to be able to edit the goals of the super AI. Now, when we edit it, you could have a video with audio of saying what would need to happen, because sometimes you can't use the current words that we currently have to produce the knowledge and transfer the knowledge that we need to do. So if we have a video, I mean, we have great producers these days. We have great anime and movies and things like that. And I mean, there's lots of things that we could do with the world. So if we were able to have the AI listen to a video with audio, now, given it would need to understand language processing, say English or some kind of language, if it were to be able to produce something good out of this video that we give it with audio. So say it's just some learning or something that we want to happen, like we showed an explosion, say we don't want this, we don't want nuclear explosions going off. I want you to try, your goal is to now prevent things like that from happening. So it takes that, its understanding of English and its knowledge base, and it takes all of that and produces a a plan. Now that's based off of its current knowledge base. A plan that it could create. It would have to like learn some things along the way. Of course, it would say, okay, now I need to learn this, and this. And robots, I want you to go and learn that. Go and learn that for me. And I'll just wait here for and control everything. Y'all just do your jobs. We're gonna get through this, okay? And that's what the Super AI would be like. Now, so the knowledge base. What would the knowledge base look like? So you have, let's say for English, you have a tab called English, and it has nouns, verbs, pronouns, conjunctions, and helping verbs. Other things too. So for nouns, it could have something like text, the visual of that text, like what it would look like, and then what that text represents for that noun. So if it's a cow, you would show a picture of a cow. And then now, and then you could have audio of like maybe the cow mooing or things like that that would relate to the cow. And that would be the knowledge base of English. It would help using the similarity neural network. It could help the neural network, I mean not the neural network, but the knowledge base improve and learn just about anything. I believe that's all. Hope this is helpful.